Welcome to the Mac and Chuck Podcast with your hosts, Chuck Hill and Scott McKenzie.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ed Bartles.
And I'm James.
We don't know. Was it? No, it wasn't Ed, was it?
I think so.
Charlie Daniels. No, that's not it. Happy Sunday. Happy hot Sunday.
Hey, everybody. Man, is it a scorcher today for sure.
If you hear a little sound in the background, that's just the fan circulating hot air in here. And no, it's not Chuck talking.
And yeah, besides the hot air that we're blowing.
There may be still hot air coming out of Chuck's head, but it's not the fan.
That's true. That's true. If it becomes overbearing, let us know and we'll figure something out.
You just watch us melt. That's what's going to happen.
This is dedication, folks. This is why we want to make sure we bring a show to you.
Well, it was better than it was an hour ago.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Woo.
No kidding. So how you doing this week, Mac? Anything new going on?
I'm doing. You take a drink there. I'll take care of the rest.
Knock it out of the ballpark, baby.
Speaking of that, new lid. You know, I looked this up. Kids that are born in 2005, there was no Expos. There was only the Washington Nationals to them. So they'd be 16 now. My son's age.
Wow.
Amazing.
That's crazy. When did the Nordiques switching
1995 was the last season in Quebec.
And did they go directly to Colorado?
Directly to Colorado. Did not pass go.
I knew that they had
Probably
gone.
collected a couple $1 million.
At least.
So let's see that playoffs.
By the way, go Blues.
Colorado going to pull out the broom tonight?
Hate to say it, but no. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say they're going to pull it out of the rear tonight. They're going to take it into another game.
It's already 2-1 Colorado in the end of the second.
Now, see, would you have to say something like that?
I'm not trying to set expectations. I'm just passing along the knowledge.
Gotcha. Well, you know what? At least we can say within our lifetime, we've achieved, well, not we, but the St. Louis Blues have at least achieved this.
Yeah, because you were there.
I was there.
You up on their shoulders.
You were throwing out a couple shifts in there.
Right.
Taking a drink out of the bowl.
I think both teams are just going to realize their differences, come together, and beat the crap out of the referee. That's what I think's going to
I
happen.
kind of like the way you think, DJ. You know, I had my own little Stanley Cup chase. I chased that sucker around while it was in St. Louis several times and missed it every single time. I even had an opportunity to photograph the cup, but I had made another commitment at that time, and so I was unable to fulfill that commitment. It's killing you, isn't it?
You could just say you're not a real fan.
Reminiscent of your love life.
Max turning into a 12-year-old teenager.
Turning?
Well, yes. Well, I don't guess if you were 12, you'd be a teenager, would you?
No.
No.
Try it again. It's the heat that's getting to us, folks. Bear with me.
Yeah,
Him,
it's something.
him.
It's something. So,
Not to mention the studio light that's bearing down on my soul.
well, the studio light is nothing compared to the sunlight and the heat that sucker emits into our studio.
Into our souls.
So, so tonight, folks, welcome to the show. Appreciate you guys tuning in and watching us.
We got nothing.
Well,
Have a good night.
we got something. Maybe we'll kind of talk about it a little bit and just kind of get your feedback. And we're interested in what you guys think. We're actually moving into a new era as opposed to the last year and almost a year and a half, I guess.
New era.
A new era. We're actually moving back into a sense of normalcy where, you know, we're going to be sort of free. And I'd like to talk about that a little bit also. But we're going to be free of mask wearing and mask mandates and 6-foot social distancing, or at least that's starting to come to an end.
You know what? I was always free.
I would disagree with you on that because you weren't free because you weren't able to go into.
I'm free. I just chose not to make a spectacle out of it.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know what made me free? That piece of paper signed in 1789.
No. Now, you took advantage of the Walmart pickup deliveries and
I did. And then finally I quit. and said because they couldn't get anything right.
Yeah.
What
So
do
you
you guys-
started.
Or their
going in?
system said, what?
So you.
What do you guys think of the Walmart pickup obelisks that are all in all of the Walmarts now? The giant orange towers where you go to pick up your stuff.
Does Granite have one of those?
I've missed that.
I know
Edwardsville
Collinsville
has one. Collinsville and Edwardsville have one.
Yeah, I knew the Collinsville.
Well,
did.
I used to go to the Collinsville Market, which used to be the old Kmart,
Oh, I know that one. I go there sometimes for lunch breaks.
and I've never seen an obelisk there. Of course, I never went in. I couldn't. Nazis. Oh, anyway.
Well, I've done pickup at the Walmart one, and oddly enough,
You
believe
done
it or
pickup at the Walmart?
not, at the Collinsville one. Yeah, pick up at the Walmart. Picked up at the Collinsville one. Went there, and of course the machine was broke when I got
Yeah,
there.
see?
Kind of like the shake machine at McDonald's, you know.
Never works.
It never works. So
You know what that's code for, don't you?
I don't
We
wanna-
cleaned it and don't want to put it back together.
Hey, I worked there. You did too. So, you know, we know
That's
the
just my
code.
experience. I don't know how it is now.
You know, it's funny when they look at you and they say it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're cleaning it.
I was
Gotcha.
talking to someone the other day, actually, we used to work with. Do you remember Vanessa used to work at the Madison Avenue McDonald's? She had kind of long hair, big eyes. Don't really know any other way to explain her. But anyway, she actually has started coming to our church. And while we were talking a little bit about it, and back when we wore the red and white striped shirts, remember that?
Lord have mercy.
I know, right?
If that was not a fashion faux pas, I don't know what is.
Well, it was McDonald's, you know, trying to be McDonald's. But I think they did a good thing going to the polo. The button downs just, you know, weren't doing it for me.
With the burgundy ties.
Yeah,
Oh, that was bad.
yeah. No, that's not good for anybody.
No, too much polyester.
Yeah. So, you know, back to what we were talking about a little bit earlier, you know, let's get your opinions on kind of a COVID-free state, if you will, because that's kind of what we're migrating to is, you know, to where we can kind of move around and do our thing if you're vaccinated. Also, kind of curious is, like, what are your thoughts? And even you, Mac, what are your thoughts on, like, should people ask?
You're trying to
if
get
you're
me in trouble,
vaccinated?
aren't you?
Well, I mean, should it be okay for people to ask if you're vaccinated or
They
not?
can ask all they want. If they work for a company, it could be considered a HIPAA violation.
Not, from what I
Exactly.
understand, not if it's a non-health related company.
They can't ask you to see.
No, they can't
to
ask
see
you
your
that.
card.
That's medical privacy.
I think it violates HIPAA whenever you ask for their card, like their vaccination card.
Yeah.
They
Well, they're calling it a passport, which is
oh, that's coming.
Well, no, it's already here. I mean, that's what people are
No,
referring
they're
to.
gonna in cruise ships and airplanes now. You have to prove you're vaccinated. Is it no cruise ships and
Hey, Megan, welcome to the show. Appreciate you stopping in.
cruise ships and something else? You have to prove you're vaccinated to get on.
Yeah,
It is a violation.
yeah. So Megan does think it's a violation
It
of
is.
somebody's privacy.
To be honest, I kind of want the masks to stay a little longer.
You do.
Well, yeah, it's going to be a lot harder to rob a store whenever you can't wear a mask.
That's
We
good.
don't know his real name, folks. We're not associated. The comments that you just heard are not necessarily those of the Mac and Chuck show.
We just know him as DJ Whiteout. He sits in a room all by himself.
I'm in a room actually 400 miles from
Behind
this location.
behind the screen,
DJ Whiteout's in remotely this evening.
I'm hooked up. To
if you've
18
seen The Golden
machines right
Child,
now.
he's the girl behind the screen. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, that's good stuff. So I personally,
Somebody saying hi to you. You better say hi to him.
I did. I said hi to Megan.
Okay.
And Megan said hi back. So, hi, Megan. You know, so I don't necessarily know if it's a violation of someone's privacy or not. I mean,
How do you figure?
I kind of think it is, and I kind of think it isn't.
No,
because it's
okay. Stop.
considered- Yeah, yeah.
How do you think it isn't?
How do I think it isn't? Because it's considered, I'm choosing my words carefully here,
Do that.
it's considered a national health pandemic, or, well, not national. I mean, it's considered,
Go look
pandemic.
at the CDC website and tell me if it still says pandemic.
well, I know it doesn't say that now.
It says outbreak. No,
Right.
it's said outbreak since October.
Today's show not brought to you by Gatorade Zero.
Gatorade is thirsty. Okay, that's all the jingles you get out of me today.
If I don't get to do it, you don't get to
I
do
just
it.
did it, pal.
So, but so if it's an epidemic, I mean, it's been treated as a pandemic. It's been described as a pandemic.
It's been called a pandemic.
Hence the word described as a pandemic, throughout, the last year and a half or so. And so I don't know. I mean, I just kind of don't say anything, if they ask. And, I've been out a couple times.
I've been raw dogging air since day one.
I've worn my mask simply because my work requires me to wear a mask. And I want to go into places, and it's really not that big a deal to me. I resisted at first. Right. And that raises a very good point. To me, it's not really a huge deal. It was at first, but then I conformed to what, needed to be done so I could do.
Does that make me a nonconformist?
I would say that would make you a nonconformist.
Even though it's medical?
Still not conforming to what they require you to do, right?
Well, not for any reason.
Well, you have a reason. Anarchists.
If Andrew gets up, he'll get up. You'll get up. Everybody will get up. It'll be anarchy. Why does Andrew get to get up?
But I don't know. Like here, even to the point where, as far as the vaccination goes, I really think it's going to become a point where we're going to have to be vaccinated to fly and to just go from spot to spot in mass transit, possibly even buses. I mean, I don't know. No one has said anything to that effect. It would make me believe that, but I do fear that is a day that's coming that if you're not vaccinated, you're not traveling. And, so it really gives me pause on whether or not, the vaccination is right for me, because I have travel plans later on this year and I really want to do that. So
I'll drive.
I can't drive because it's going to take just as long as I get there as I'm going to spend there. So, it's really interesting. I don't know. I mean, it's something for us to think
I
about.
won't. I'll just drive.
So
I'll just raw dog my car's there.
Raw dog, really?
Raw dog it, baby.
That's what you're going to use. Last week you get us fined by the FCC, and this week you're calling things raw dogging.
Hey, I gotta be me. I gotta be me.
So Nancy says, since I don't have a vehicle and thus utilize public transportation, she'll be very happy to be able to go to a fast food, which can be seen as an oxymoron restaurant to eat a meal. Yes, I agree about fast food being an oxymoron. Megan, she says, I don't have to wear her mask, not work. And
hey, Chuck, why don't we do this? Ooh, technology.
Good job. You folks sit there and read that. I'm going to sit here and be quiet for a minute or two.
Nancy Hill says, it would be nice if all of.
I think there's a part 2 to that.
Nancy, I think you got cut off there.
So back to Megan's point. You cannot know. Which brings me to my point. I will not get on the soapbox. I will try to keep this as neutral as possible. If so much misinformation and contradiction did not start from day one, and they would let in altering points of view with actual research, there was a study of the University of Florida that studied hundreds of thousands of people. I'm not sure the exact number. I don't recall. That said asymptomatic people cannot transmit.
Asymptomatic?
Asymptomatic, which is just like any other virus. If you've got a cold or something and let me back up. If you have, what were we always told? Going to school, don't go if you've had a fever in the last 24 hours, because that's how it's transmitted. That's when the virus is shredding.
Right.
Which you understand what that is, right? Okay.
Shedding or shredding?
Either. One or the other. You know what I'm talking about, clown.
Use your better judgment.
So there was a study that said that was the case with this too, but you never heard about it. It's just the stuff that you hear that people are finally catching up to now that was said back in May of last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, okay. It really makes you stop and wonder, can you trust anything anybody says?
So what you're saying is, now let me...
You want to decipher that? Or do you want me to say it again?
No, I think what you're saying is that you originally believed that we were fed misinformation or at least
Incomplete.
faulty information.
Incomplete.
Okay.
Well, I'll use that word. Incomplete.
Incomplete. Okay. And that regulations and mandates were enforced or tried to be enforced based simply on the fact that we were dealing with incomplete information that the media ran with. And so government was run by basically media opinion as opposed to scientific fact. And now it's starting to catch up with that.
I would say that based upon what I've read and what I've experienced and what I've researched.
Okay. Okay. So Nancy says, yeah, it was Frankie wanting attention. Oh, it would be nice if all the states had the same guidelines. I agree with you, Nancy. And
But you really have, you could say that in one breath, but you really have to think about states' rights too. Each state has the right to conduct their business the way they see fit.
here's the interesting point about that, though. If the science is being followed and what's within the best guidelines, healthy guidelines of the citizens, shouldn't all the states kind of follow the same science? If that's what's being followed, should they all
again,
not follow the same science?
I'll go back to my previous comment, which was, how do you know if the science was truthful or being manipulated?
Or perhaps, just maybe, the science was being interpreted politically, and maybe the science was being followed.
You said it,
But-
not me.
Well, I'm just saying here. I mean, Nancy makes her. I think it was Nancy that made a very good point here. You know, it's like if we're going to follow the science, let's follow the science across the board, okay? Because I mean, I don't know much about federal power versus state power. I mean, I do understand what states' rights are,
Mhm.
but then again, if we're talking something within a national crisis or a national health crisis, you know, then I would think that the betterment of the country as a whole. For instance, when we first heard about it, President Trump at the time shut down travel from other, you know, specific countries,
Mhm.
right? And that was for the betterment of the whole. There are airports in multiple states, you know, but when he shuts down travel from different countries, he's restricting business within the states because you can't get an international flight from, say, China or Europe into the country because it may fly into Chicago or St. Louis or LAX. You know, so at that point, federal rights kind of trumped state rights at that point, and no pun was intended there.
Just to touch base on Megan's last comment, do you think the government made it? Megan, I don't know if you've ever done any research on gain of function. I'd recommend to look into that because that is a thing. That's not conspiracy theory. You
What
can
was
find
it?
that
I missed
it's
that.
called gain of function research.
Okay.
And that's all I'm going to say on that. I'll let you guys do your own research on that.
Well, here's what I'm going to say on it. The origin of this virus was reported from multiple locations, all originating from China. At the beginning, they reported this. It was reported coming from a wet market. And I've never been to a wet market because I've never been to China, but I've heard that these things are pretty unhealthy. They're disgusting. They're just, it's basically bloody bodies across the
What was
across
that?
the market.
Did you ding?
It was the computer that did.
No.
So as far as it being made by the government, no, Megan, I don't personally believe that the United States government had anything to do with it. But I do know that there was a lot that went into, there was a lot of finger pointing going on at the beginning, and it was all pointed toward China. Now, you know, the Wuhan labs that's over there, was it something created for population control from China? I don't know. None of us over here know, unless we're in some kind of high level security.
I'm really trying to keep my tinfoil hat off.
Yeah, no, and I'm not trying to get all conspiracy theory on everybody, but you know,
I have other thoughts, but I'll just keep those to myself.
well, we don't know, you know, where
I
it
said
came
thoughts,
from.
didn't I?
You did say thoughts. I know.
Okay, then.
You did say thoughts. So Chris says, out of fear, though, everyone acted out of fear because this ran so quickly on something so new.
Well, you have to remember what sells, what makes people stand up and listen and take notice and follow the instructions. Fear.
Right.
What's going on there?
Yeah, my mic is picking up our fan, so I'm going to cut my mic out here just a minute. And then, Scott, why don't you go ahead and share your
Do
Share
you
your
really
thoughts.
want people? No, I can't do that.
No, it's our show. Go for it.
See those 8 people? They'll go bye-bye.
That's okay, folks. You want to hear what Mac has to say? I would encourage it.
All I'm going to say is do gain of function research. Look this stuff up on a search engine other than Google or Bing. Look at DuckDuckGo, because you'll see a lot of things that are on DuckDuckGo that you don't see on Google. Kim joined us. Kim stopped living in fear, went back to traveling 2 months into the pandemic, and been on plenty of flights and plenty of high-risk areas like Vegas and California. I can't imagine being forced to get a vaccine and get on a plane now after all these times without. Was that my best John Machida there?
I would think so. Yeah.
Okay, good. But no, Kim's right.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely can't live in fear, and whatever that looks like, I don't know.
Here's how you do it. You take the information, you go do your own research with the information you're given. You look for alternating points of view, and you do the one that makes the most sense to you. Now, when I say that, there's always something that I keep in my mind as I'm going through all this stuff. Follow the money. Who winds up making the money from it?
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying as far as that goes.
And that's not conspiracy theorists. That's just true. That could be true on anything. That's true of government, period.
Right.
Follow the money trail.
Yeah.
Where does it lead?
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, and even with like media, that's what you were talking about earlier. What sells is sensation.
Right.
You know, I mean, people say sex sells, but I don't really necessarily know that that's true as much as it is sensation within a 24-hour news cycle. And
they got to do something to fill that time frame now.
Well, yeah.
That's why you never had this back in the NBC nightly news with Tom Brokaw.
Walter Cronkite.
You didn't have that stuff then because they actually had to report the news. They didn't have to fill 24 hours in a time.
Right. We didn't have
In a time
CNN
slot.
or MSNBC or Fox News
No.
or any of that. It was 6 o'clock and 10 o'clock, and that was it.
Yeah.
And that was sufficient. And then you
No.
had newspapers.
It was 5, 6, and 10, and then 5:30 was the national news on one of the 5 channels we had.
Right. And yes, folks, we were the remote.
Yes, get up and change the channel.
Maybe that's where we messed up. Maybe it was the flat screens that changed everything.
It was the
Yeah,
flat
bring back
panel.
the tube
They made
TVs,
everything
man.
too easy for everybody, so they just gave
That's
up.
why. Are you
Yeah.
saying that's why all the kids are fat now? Is because they're not remotes?
I think that's exactly
Well,
right.
That's
And I think we should ban flat screen TVs. That's what's wrong with America.
Well, let's not. We're getting ahead of ourselves now. Okay, let's back up a step with that. What are you doing?
I'm looking.
It's 3 to 1.
3 to 2.
Oh, excuse me.
3 to 2, 10:30 in the third period for those that are keeping track of the.
Which
Hockey
obviously
game.
you are.
And it is not the Blues that are up, but they're closer than they were earlier. So Megan says she didn't fear, just got aggravated with it. She said it's stay in place order, not being able to go and do anything in the beginning. Now she feels it. She feels freedom. And Megan, that's kind of to my point earlier. Is what does that actually look like for people now? The freedom part of it. I mean, is it true freedom? And that's one of the questions that I have to ask. Is it true freedom? Because in order to technically, and I won't say legally because there's really no legal basis to make
No.
people do this, but to technically walk around without your mask, you should be vaccinated. And they will ask you when you go into restaurants. Like I said, I've been out a couple different times, and thankfully the person I was with, she answered, and she's like, she's been vaccinated, and I can kind of just not say anything, and I don't think we're famous enough yet on here that people are going to call me out on the show, but but
I haven't and I won't.
I mean, but how do you respond? Like, do you respond back with that's none of your business and keep on trucking?
Or you can
And be
lie.
honest. Well, are you a liar?
Should they be asking me that question in the first place?
That's not the question.
No, that
thing
is the question.
They're going to ask you the question. So the response back to you is, do you tell them like you believe that that's none of their business,
Mhm.
I can probably.
or do you say?
And I can say that in a polite manner.
Okay.
Believe it or not.
No, I believe that you could, but the question is, like you just said, it's like, well, you could just say you have. Like, do you lie about it? I mean,
So what I'm
We've been
gathering
lied
from
to
this-
for the last year. What does it matter now?
What I'm gathering from this is See, I work in the retail business, so I had to ask people if they had any masks and stuff. So essentially, you're saying, if I see someone come into the store and they're not wearing a mask, I should go up to them and say, "Hey, are you a liar? Are you a
Absolutely.
liar?"
Actually, what I think would be a really good way to do this is to, instead of assuming that everybody is or is not
So,
vaccinated.
so what you're saying is I should wear a Scarlet A?
No, I'm just saying that if someone walks into your establishment, it's really simple to say, do you have a mask? And most people who have been vaccinated are simply going to respond and say, "Oh, it's okay, I've been vaccinated," or they'll put their mask on or they won't. I really think that is a much less invasive way to approach that situation.
Megan, retail is horrible right now.
Retail is always
And
horrible.
Angie says, or you can get the vaccine.
Says, you guys know that a whole evening or two could be devoted to immunizations. That's true. According to the CDC, all states require children to be vaccinated against certain communicable diseases as a condition for school attendance. And Nancy, that's a very good point. And man, is that a hot topic right now. Like you have anti-vaxxers and vaxxers and it's a big deal.
I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm just not going to get a vaccine for two reasons. Again, without getting into the whole blown up situation on it, two reasons. I'm not going to get a vaccine for a virus that I can survive with 99.9% efficiency. I'm not going to get a vaccine on something that's only been in service for 5 months, and people that are getting it are the trial.
And the fact that there's no recourse for the companies if we start dying from it too.
Yes, they are.
We can't.
They're
do anything about it.
lawsuit immune.
Yeah,
Anything that's lawsuit immune, it's a little wishy-washy.
Kim, hashtag I'm with Scott. You're always with Scott.
It's because it's you.
Probably.
It is.
But, so what do you think?
Those are my two, without blowing it out all out of proportion on what I've read, what I think, what the research tells me, those are the two reasons that I will not.
So what do you think about approaching it in a different manner? Instead of saying, "Hey, are you vaccinated?" What do you think about doing it in kind of a passive manner? I mean, you know me, I'm kind of a passive guy anyway when it comes to things like that. But what are your thoughts as far as asking someone to put their mask on or asking them if they have a mask and then allowing them to volunteer that information?
If you own a business, that's your right not to have people patronize your business.
Mm-hmm.
I just won't.
So Shelby, she said, and that's fine. That is your right as a consumer, and you're absolutely right. That's a business's right to refuse services, like no shirt, no shoes, no service, right? But again, it comes down to the question. You feel it's an invasion of someone's privacy about whether or not they have the vaccine or not. I don't disagree, but on the other hand, I don't completely agree. It's kind of one of those areas where, again, it's a matter of personal choice of whether someone wants to volunteer information or they don't. Because the question then becomes, if I ask you, "Hey, have you been vaccinated?" and then you turn around and tell me that it's none of my business if you've been vaccinated or not, then I guess the question then comes to the point of, well, do you say, "Okay, well, if you don't want to tell me or you're not going to share that, then please leave."
Okay.
Or so you would be okay with that?
It's their business.
Okay. Well, I mean, it is America, so.
But exactly. And I can't see my face anymore.
Just so you guys know, you look like Tim Allen's neighbor in Home Improvement.
I'm Wilson. How diddly hold it? Oh, there. It's gone.
There we are. Sorry, folks. You got to look at our faces again. Look at our mugs.
Boo.
So I'm going to read Shelby's comment here. Says she agrees. She thinks it's none of anyone's business, really, if someone's been vaccinated or not. Says went to the zoo the other day and a lot of people didn't have a mask on and it didn't bother her, but she still kept her mask on just because it's what she's most confused with.
And it's personal preference.
Says, I don't care if people around me now or do or don't because I don't know if they're vaccinated or not. I don't feel the need to ask. LOL. Shelby, did you really LOL at that? I'm just kind of curious. But, and that's another question that a lot of people have. It's like, well, if you've been vaccinated, then why do you have to worry about whether or not I've been vaccinated or not? And if someone would like to jump in and talk about that and give an answer to that, I would love to hear it. I mean, I don't know the science behind it. I mean, sometimes you hear people say, well, just because I've been vaccinated doesn't mean I can't carry it, or just because you've been vaccinated doesn't mean that you can or can't carry it. I don't know. Lisa says if you own an establishment, you have the right to ask what you want, and they have the right to go somewhere else.
Yep.
If you as a person are concerned and you don't feel your vaccine is protecting you, then wear a mask. Now that the spike has died down, make people responsible for their own health. And that kind of goes, yes, Lisa.
She's throwing your business out there. Business.
Actually, let's talk about that after the show, because I did some digging and did some looking. See, folks, this is the great part about a homegrown show.
It's home.
It's home. It's home. So tell James
It's
to
your
hold
home.
off. Tell James to hold off, and because I did do some digging around, and I think I might know what's going on. So,
Did you break any
we'll
concrete?
talk about that after the show tonight. No, I did not dig up any concrete. So I kind of, people responsible for their own health. I totally agree with you, Lisa. Kind of back to where we were before this all started. It's like the flu shot.
What'd you test negative for, Larry? I want to know. Everything?
Yeah. So, Larry, I've had 3 negative tests. I've been exposed 3 times. I've tested negative 3 times. I have kind of more.
You're exposed to the HIV?
The HIV. No. The
the vid. I'm
the
sorry.
vid. Yeah. The Rona, the vid.
Those
whatever
3
we're calling
letters.
it now. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm kind of in a certain category of people also.
Well, did you know the people that get the vaccine? Yes, I'm going to interrupt you
What's that?
just because I need to get this point out. The people that get the vaccine do have to have boosters.
They don't know that yet. That's
I just read it yesterday.
That they do?
Yes.
And where'd you read that? I'm just curious. Because I haven't read that yet, and I knew that it was a concern.
I can't remember. I'm all over the place.
Yeah, I know that they had talked about it. But I mean, it's probably like the flu. I mean, I get that they're saying that Corona or COVID-19 is actually more contagious than the typical flu is. But, getting the flu vaccination is something that it is contagious. You can't spread the flu. That's why they tell you to stay home. Some of the symptoms are the same, fever, chills, things like that. But it's not mandated for people to do that. It's completely voluntary. So I would be interested in knowing about the boosters, though, because I had heard that may be a possibility.
Am I good now?
You're good, man.
I saw the sigh. Go ahead. I completely lost my thought.
That's okay.
Let me
Chris
get it back.
says her nephew got his vaccine and still got the virus. So as long as people don't think it's a cure-all, then it's okay, I guess. And there was actually, was it a Blues player that got his vaccination and then tested positive?
I don't know. But
There was an NHL player that.
I mean, essentially, they're using the COVID proteins to trigger your body's immune system. So if your immune system isn't built up well enough, you could probably catch it in some sort of form, whether it's full blown or diminished, we don't know.
So Megan says she got the virus before the vaccination. Megan, I'm kind of curious. Were your symptoms from the vaccination, were they similar to what you experienced during the virus? Just kind of
You can't ask that
trimmed
question.
down?
You can't ask that question.
Oh, because it's medically protected.
HIPAA law prohibits.
HIPAA law. So, but anyway, yeah, I mean, those are things I'm curious about. I appreciate you guys chiming in tonight.
Being forthright, sharing your medical information with us.
Yeah, and if you guys want to jump on the show, also, DJ, why don't you throw the link?
Throw them digits.
Yeah, throw the link up there onto the down there where it says invite the copy, and then throw that into the comments. And if people want to actually come on to the show and talk about it a little bit to us. Hell, if you're a health professional and you've got something to say about it,
And you tell me I don't know what the hell I'm talking about?
yeah, we'd love to see that. So Megan says she did not have any symptoms from the vaccination. Okay, that's good.
Good.
And then Chris says that her nephew was actually weeks later and not just post-vaccine. So if I understand correctly, and if I read that correctly, your nephew got the vaccine and then still contracted COVID. I'm curious
Weeks
if it
later.
was, yeah, I'm curious if it was one of the new strains, which that brings up an entirely new, question, because we were talking about the boosters earlier, and like the flu shot each year. It's a variation of, I believe, the strains that were highly contagious and infectious the year prior, if I understand that correctly.
I have no, I don't. I heard there's but again, with all the misinformation, can you believe what they're saying now?
No.
So what I will say is, number one, through all of this, maybe people will be more mindful of the way they feel before they go out into large crowds, as opposed to the flu.
Yeah.
People's like, I just don't feel good, I'm going to go. Are they going to be more mindful now? Possibly. Maybe not. It's going to be more aware. It's going to be more in the forefront of their mind. But number two, I did research back in August when all this started, really getting bad. I said, okay, what can I do?
Yeah.
Lose weight, take vitamin D, take zinc, and take a probiotic for digestive health.
So you took a more homeopathic way
I did.
to prevention,
And
as opposed to.
I have a doctor's note, so I don't have to wear a mask at work. So when I say I've been raw dog, I'm being silly, but I have not worn a mask since day one.
Right. No, I know. I've been around you. So Chris says the virus is morphing so quickly, it's not even funny. So she doesn't think that even the CDC can keep up. And Chris, I think that's really a good point, because the CDC seemed to kind of be all over the place throughout this entire thing, especially Dr. Fauci, when he would say one thing, even at the beginning of this, he was, saying we don't need to wear masks, we don't need to distance or anything like that. It's not a big deal. And then that flipped relatively quickly to masking, social distancing, isolation, to at some point it was even double masking.
Here's the big thing. This is my complaint outside of everything else. If you don't know and you think there's a possibility you might have to retract, don't say anything to begin with. Tell people this is what we think you should do.
Mm-hmm.
It is up to you to do it. Now, being America, a lot of people are just going to say, I ain't doing it. But in the same token, it just lends to the mistrust of the government already in the back of people's mind. And you come out with conflicting information and incomplete information that you see on another source. It just really makes people like, I don't know who to believe, so I'm not going to hear anybody.
Yeah. So Chris says, but they did say a particular blood type is more capable of fighting off this virus. Is that what I've heard?
O negative.
Yes, which I am O negative. Actually, I'm O, I believe. I don't know if it's, I guess it would be O positive.
I don't know
You have to
what
be
blood
positive
type I
or
am.
negative.
Dad, do you know what blood
You
type
have to be
I am?
positive or negative.
Yes, I'm O positive, I believe. And I don't know that no, I'm O positive. I'm not sure what blood type you are. I know it primarily because I'm a donor, and you get the little card that says it's called Hero Blood, which means anyone can take my blood. Will use my blood. You can't take my blood. It's my blood. Don't take it. But anyone can use my blood. And you're right, Chris. I too have heard that the O type blood is more resistant to the initial COVID-19 virus.
I like how you said that, like one of our viewers was going to go to your house with like a scalpel and a shop vac and just take whatever they could.
Uh-oh. We're not being heard.
So I wonder what's going on.
Okay.
So,
Can
let's
people
see.
hear us?
If you can hear us, give us a thumbs up, or say
tell
you
us
can
to
hear
shut
me
up.
now. Something along those lines. Everything seems to be working fine on the studio end.
Nothing blew up. We didn't have a transformer blew up, did
Yeah, nothing like that.
we? Okay, good.
So Lisa says she can hear us. Megan, I would suggest maybe checking your headphones or maybe checking the volume on the phone. That's happened before.
Man, you acting like people are stupid, man. Jeez. Give people some credit. You want to like check your volume because it's not us.
Well, you know what? I've lost my cool before because people have told me they couldn't hear us. Come to find out, they had their volume turned down. So, I mean,
You lose your cool?
you can ask
Never.
DJ Whiteout and you can ask Mac. But yeah. So, Angie says Eli's type O, but he got the vid.
I really
So,
think it's O negative. Blood type O negative. And it's not just the name of a band.
Lisa says, shut you face. So Christine says, I am O2. I haven't caught it and worked the entire time, but have been vaccinated now. Okay. So, I mean, and that's awesome. I mean, that's a good sign there that maybe the news about the type O blood is accurate. So I'll be honest with you. I mean, I'm not vaccinated, but I'm considering it primarily for the freedom aspect of it and the ability to travel and go where I want to go. I don't mind telling people I'm not vaccinated. If I need to wear a mask, I will wear a mask. I mean, because I don't want people to feel uncomfortable either. I'd rather not wear a mask, but I will. So
I guess I'm just a rude man because I don't care if people are uncomfortable or not.
I got all 5 of them.
Oh, did you?
Just to be safe.
One cocktail?
Just to be safe.
Attaboy.
I can see some sounds now. But
Can
other
you?
than that, I'm fine.
How about shapes? Can you hear them?
I can smell colors.
Awesome.
Nice. So
That's just my opinion.
So just an update on the blue score. It looks like it is 3-2 right now with 1:48 left in the third.
Done.
So you know what? They've done much more miraculous things in the in last minute of play before. So it's possible that they can pull it out. I've got some faith in them. Let's go Blues.
Who's yelling "Do it" to me?
That would be Christine.
Okay.
She's saying do it, not do me. I'm just saying. Did you throw up a little in your mouth there, Matt?
I burped.
So,
What's she saying? Do it too.
I think getting the vaccination.
Oh, no, thank you.
Yeah, I think getting the vaccination. So,
But thank you.
But so let's have your let's
My eyes.
let's have some of your.
Here it comes. I can't stop it this time. Here it comes.
So
Christina says,
she says, I hate the fact that
You can't here. Let me read it. You just sit there and laugh. She hates the fact that the government is going to try and limit the travel. Believe it's just the beginning of limiting our freedoms just a bit. And just my opinion. It's not just your opinion. I share that as well. Megan says it was awkward being in establishments in Alabama and no one having masks on, and I was in large crowds all weekend. The funny thing about that, Megan, is, okay, let me back up. Not the funny thing. The interesting thing is Florida and Texas have reduced those, and there has been no spike. So another one of my thoughts, and this is just me from a common sense point of view, is the reason we had a summer spike is because people had to stay indoors. I really think vitamin D has a big impact on it. I really do. So vitamin D from the sun that people didn't get out and enjoy the outdoors during last summer caused the spike. I mean, that's just my opinion. I'm not a doctor. It's just my own research, my own opinion.
You're not a doctor?
But I play one on television.
Well, on Sunday nights anyway.
Shelby says, I think I decided after I'm not pregnant anymore, she's going to go ahead and get it just as a reassurance that I probably won't get it.
She says she gets anxious about it and might as well, but she doesn't judge who doesn't want to get it.
100% your personal choice.
And she doesn't think that Dustin is. So
again, personal choice. That's what makes this country great.
Yeah. So So I mean, it is America, and sometimes America. Sometimes it kind of feels like. So I'm gonna push a little bit onto the media here, because I really feel that there was a lot of information.
Oh, it's over.
Yeah, I'm afraid. Thanks for the update, Christina. Christine, definitely appreciate that. And,
turn out the lights. The party's over.
Yep, I think so.
I wonder what time tea time is tomorrow. And I don't mean
Right.
TEA.
Right.
I heard it's usually the second shot that just puts you straight out of commission.
Now I've heard it varies. I've heard the first shot whoops people's rear ends, and the second one isn't so bad. I've heard the opposite.
Yeah. So for those of you who have been vaccinated, what were your symptoms, or what was your experience
There
with
you
it
go,
for
asking
those?
those medical questions again.
You know what?
Dude,
They
we're
don't
gonna
have
get-
to answer.
we're
And for
gonna
those
get
of you
such
who
a
want to tell
lawsuit.
me it's none of my business, feel free to comment on there. None of your business, Chuck.
None of your business, Chuck. There, I did it verbally.
I agree, Chris. It's too sad. It's sad for the Blues.
I don't think it's too bad. I mean, when I got shot number 3,
Shot number
I kind of had the slight urge to kill John F. Kennedy, but other than that, I was fine.
Junior, because I heard he's still alive.
Him, Elvis, and who was the other guy? I don't know. But yeah, they're all on an island somewhere, painting velvet paintings of
Thanks,
themselves. So, but anyway, we appreciate you guys.
Yeah, Chuck, it's none of your business.
Yeah, well, that's cool. I can be with that. So Christine says no symptoms at all after getting shots. So I kind of wonder if that has to do with blood type also. Whether you have certain symptoms or not, because
Just could be reactions.
could be because while I know it's reported not to do anything to your DNA. It does, from what I understand, kind of alter and program are probably a poor choice of words, but the RNA in our bodies, it kind of readjusts that to fight off the virus in a different manner. Is what I'm hearing.
So what you're saying is zombie in 2 years? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know.
I'll tell you one of the worst things that has been coming out
Here
of
we
this
go.
pandemic, dude.
Here we go.
At Swing City, dude, we can't get Jack Diddley in stock. We can barely get anything in stock for any.
That's because
kind of
nobody wants to
guitar.
work.
Well, I think it's mainly just shipping complications and stuff like that over in China
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But wood sourcing is so hard for guitars and stuff that some guitars, I mean, we're not even going to get until late 2022, and that's how it is for a lot of guitar companies right now.
So Kim says she got it with no issues. She wants to get back to normal, so she got it. Okay. 5-2. Oh my gosh. So yeah, they kind of got a whooping tonight. Well, that stinks. Go Cards. Chris says my son got his first shot. Where's the cutoff button? We got a dump button over here.
Let's
I got
go-
your dump button.
Let's go Royals.
So Nancy says her belief is that people will react differently to the vaccine. She had the Moderna, the first shot. She did have some pain from the shot site and then up to her neck. So it looks like it kind of varies from person to person also. I mean, I think that's just our genetic makeup. So boo on the Cubs. So yeah, you have an Expos hat on tonight.
I dig vintage stuff. I said that last week.
That's true. You did. So it's been an interesting show tonight. Dustin
It just got more interesting.
Dustin is offering to show us his dump button if we'll show him ours. Nobody wants to see my dump button. Nobody wants to see your dump button either.
Nobody wants to hear your dump button.
So, anyway, we started the show off not quite knowing, what we were going to talk about. And we appreciate.
Wow, we can bloviate for 50 minutes. Not bad. Not bad at all.
What?
Bloviate.
Bloviate? Is that the new word of the day?
Shelby's going to throw up. He's walking into the room right now, showing her his dump button.
I think that's why I'm getting a granddaughter
That
in a
could
couple
be
months.
Could very well be
Because they've
it.
been showing each other their dump buttons. I don't know. Oh my gosh. I have got something terrible going on with my eye.
Yeah, they're open. But
Probably.
You probably glanced at a mirror or something for too long.
It's because I'm staring at myself here on the camera.
I ran by a mirror and just couldn't stop looking.
I had hoped to get a nap this afternoon, but that didn't happen. So
You grandpa.
had kind of a late night last night, but that's okay.
No, you had an early morning.
Well, that's true too. But you know what? Every minute was worth it. So it's pretty cool. Had a good evening. So Shelby still got the dump face or the puke face
The dump.
on.
Yeah, she got the dump,
dump
puke,
face.
whatever.
So, yeah. What do you guys want to talk about next week? Yeah, we can kind of talk about that for a few minutes. Next week.
Sometime in the near future, we got to get see if we get the mayor on.
Yes, we would love to do that. Get him on. Love to get some of the new local government on. That would be great. And you know what? I would be happy to have some of our like state government officials on, or even some of our national officials on. I mean, I think that would be really, really cool. So if you want to come on the show, please feel free to come on. We'd be happy to see you guys.
We won't ask
And
you if
talk
you're
with you.
vaccinated. We won't do that.
I think
Not
we
here.
should have.
This is a safe
So,
place.
oh, great, Megan. Megan says that the show is awesome and it's first time tuning in. So thank you very much. Appreciate that. Appreciate you being here. And I think that Shelby and Dustin are kind of in the middle of their own little war
They're 12-year-old.
and
We
has
just
War.
checked with some independent fact checkers, and we did find out that Shelby is in fact a dumb face.
Okay, fair.
Shelby. Okay. So
Yeah.
It's been those the same Facebook fact checkers.
Yes.
Okay,
Facebook fact checkers.
fat checkers.
So, all right.
Get on the scale.
That's a big checker. Look at the size of the checker on that checker.
Shelby says.
Oh,
she's falling
geez,
for-
it started here.
Well, that escalated quickly.
Hang on, I want to sit back here and just watch.
I think,
Just watch
Yeah,
it.
We're gonna have a
it'd be good
play-by-play.
I think it'd be a good idea to have some local government on.
Shh, shh, shh. We're watching this.
Statewide gun laws. Okay. All right. That would be a pretty hot topic and pretty hot show to have. I think
We've got a hot show, hitting the hot button.
we got a hot button show for you tonight, folks.
We could have the Granite City mayor and the Edwardsville mayor mud wrestle. That's what we could do.
Well, I'll let you sit here and watch that yourself. Okay, I'll just.
I don't think I'd want to see either of them. And
Sail on.
I've met Art a couple times, and Art's a good guy, but I don't necessarily know that I want to watch him mud wrestle. So yeah,
You ever
no,
see-
that's
you ever-
probably not going to happen.
You ever seen a grown man naked?
You wanna start hearing Deliverance in the background.
It's very nice. Don't call me Shirley.
So yeah, we could do a show on gun laws. I think that that might be.
We need to pin down that on location show too.
Yep. So let's kind of do a call out to that right now. So for those of you who are watching, we're planning to do a remote show of sorts, some live, some pre-recorded, out at Lake Salatisca. We're going to be, for those of you who know, we were in a group called Empathy, and it was kind of a peer support group. And we're just going to kind of reminisce a little bit about some of that and some of our experiences there. And I was actually there a couple weeks back, and it's changed just a great deal. So I'm looking forward to doing that show. So we're looking forward to that. If you have any kind of, I don't know that there was any video or anything like that. If you have video, that would be great. If you have pictures you'd like to share,
That was
some
early
of your
90s.
past
We don't
interest.
have video.
there were camcorders,
Broadcast studios on your shoulder, like boom boxes.
if you have any video, pictures, or anything like that, feel free to share those. You can send those to macchuck2020@gmail.com.
What's that address again?
That would be macchuck2020@gmail.com. And you can send it to us, or you can message us at Facebook at facebook.com/Mac and Chuck. We'd be happy to have those images on the show.
Seriously,
And
don't call me Shirley. He's fired.
I don't know what's going
I
on
was
over
waiting
there.
how long it takes.
So I think we
change
will.
it back. Change it back.
I think we will do the gun show. That seems like a hot topic. To
2
do.
tickets?
2 tickets to the gun show. So I think with that, we may actually be done a little early tonight. What do you think?
I'm hip.
Yeah.
We got barking dogs in the backyard, so
DJ Whiteout, you got anything else you got to add tonight?
you're being yelled at.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Oh, here we go.
at the end of the day, do what you want. That's my message to the world.
Because we live in America.
That's right.
Words of wisdom from DJ Whiteout.
Land
All
of
right,
the free and home of the over 30% tax rate.
From Chuck Hill's backyard.
The Mac and Chuck video podcast live Sundays
America.
at 6 p.m.
Central
America.
Time. Central Time.
All right, folks. We out. Have a great weekend. Have a safe Memorial Day next weekend, and we will see you.